That sucks. Come on, you bastard. Actually. Oh, it's like big time on fire. Oh, that's gonna put a damper in today. So if you guys remember, I recently, in the last video, I talked about how I broke this thing and the coolant line came off. It was in the F100 video and I walked by it. Oh, great, it's raining. It's raining like really bad now. I didn't technically actually break the car, but I did do a burnout and this coolant line came off. So I'm gonna try to put it back on before it starts absolutely dumping on me. I have this whole shop and I got the damn car outside. Gotta get this hose clamp tight and then throw a battery in this thing and then we're good. Okay, good enough. Oh, jeez. Try a battery, but it works. Start, please. Alright guys, so that was a pain, but the car is back in the shop finally. We're gonna get this thing up in the air and get the tranny fixed. I have all the parts to fix it, and yeah. So if this is your first video of this car has a non-PI bottom end with PI heads, a little over 10-to-1 compression. I think it's about 10.5-to-1, and it has a manual transmission on a roll cage, and it's freaking sick. Yeah, this car is a ton of fun. It is my drift car. It also is my daily driver, kind of doubles. It's like a luxury drift car almost, but yeah, I just did a full Black Widow stainless exhaust on this thing, and as you can see the cutouts, this thing sounds rowdy. I think I've narrowed it down. If you've ever seen like a Corvette at a drift event or any sort of a built Corvette, it sounds a lot like a Corvette, which is really weird being it has a modular motor. But, so this thing needs to go up in the air, and we gotta pull the tranny out, unfortunately. I think what sucks the most about this is, one, I just paid Chaz to detail this because I didn't think it was gonna rain today. It wasn't supposed to originally. So I had a nice clean car that I was gonna work on. And the second thing is now that it has a bunch of crap all over it, I'm gonna be laying in water. So I'm gonna try to get all the water off the car so it doesn't drip on me when I'm trying to take a transmission. It's still better than doing it in the rain, outside like I used to have to do. Alright, wow, how lucky of me to be back underneath this thing all over again. So you can see the pretty trick exhaust system. If you want to see how I built it up with the card up, you can definitely go check that out because this thing sounds freaking rowdy. It's got some long tube headers. These are off of an S195. I did modify the top two tubes and refit it, cut the flange off, put a V-band on, all that good stuff. So this is a pretty baller setup, at least in a Crown Vic. I've never seen a setup like this in a Crown Vic before. And it sounds rowdy. I will admit, it sounds amazing. So the only downside though is you can see I put a V-band up here. And I do need to pull the transmission out. And as you can see, everything from there back is welded. So I did not make the midsection removable like an idiot because obviously I didn't think I was going to be taking this thing out. So I was like, whatever, who cares? It's future Craig's problem. Well, I didn't know future Craig would be like literally the next day. So here I am, future Craig, pissed off. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this thing probably right after the X, right before our cutouts. So I don't have to mess with the mufflers or the cutouts. Probably hack it right there. I'll end up putting a V-band right there and on that side. And I'll be able to drop this midsection out of the car. And I can go ahead and get the cross member as well as the drive shaft out a lot easier. So I want to go ahead and knock that out. That should be pretty fun. But yeah, let's get it done. Okay, so I'm gonna drop this thing out. It's gonna pour fluid out, so I have a couple zip ties and a glove. And we're gonna slip that over the backside, zip tie it up, and we'll catch, hopefully, most of the fluid. I'm gonna try to keep the fluid in this thing so I don't have to refill it because it's a pain. No way. That's beautiful. Either that or there's no tranny fluid in it. So we'll take our glove. Hopefully it fits. I think it's enough to get the tranny out, but you can't take this header off. That sucks. I had the motor up last time I got these out. They hit the frame. Oh, I think it'll barely squeak by, but we'll see. Hopefully that fits. Now we have the trans unbolted. I just need to jack it up, and then I'm gonna take this cross member out, and the whole thing should just kind of, what you think is gonna happen is not what's gonna happen, and what you don't think is gonna happen is gonna happen. So we're gonna get this thing lined up. I'm gonna go ahead, tighten these guys down. These little tabs are a huge pain to deal with, but I'd like to get it to where it's actually gonna hold the trans. hardest cross member on the face of the earth to get out. I still can't get out. Look at this. It's holding itself right now. Come on, you bastard. God dang it, dude. Actually, you'd think the weight of this thing would fall out. Ridiculous. That'd be that wedged in there. Thing should just kind of... I got it. You bastard. Holy mackerel, that was hard. That absolutely sucked. But I did get it. Okay. I'm just happy I didn't have to lift the motor up. I was really worried about that with that passenger side header. Come on. Don't be shy. Oh, I gotta take the O2 out of this side now. So, inside here, right in here, let me give you a light. Let me just blind myself so you guys can see what I have to suffer through. On this thing, this guy. Right here, it's too long. This is what's pressing it up. You can see it's smashed up against, it was smashed up against the bell housing like that, backwards, because the diaphragm on the clutch stuck too far out this way, and so that pushed the fork on the opposite side backwards, that way. So I need to essentially shorten this ball pivot that's over here, inward, and that'll bring the fork back this way so it doesn't hit the bell housing anymore, because it's hitting back here. I need to pull it up forward. So I'm gonna pull this thing out. I've got an adjustable one. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in. Stick all this stuff back together. God, I hope this thing just goes back in. Wow, that was really tiring to do this without pulling it all the way out of the car, just because it's a lot of extra work. There we go. Fork is out of the way. I guess just for demonstration purposes, I'll move this. So you can see this ball pivot. Here's our adjustable one. So essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a measurement from the tip to the base, and I'm gonna shorten it 1/2 inch. And this is an adjustable one. I got this on an LMR. It's for this transmission. And I'm gonna take this guy. Yeah, this should be a replacement. So it should thread all the way through. We should have plenty of room. I just need to make this thing 1/2 inch shorter, is what I saw at least. And that should give us enough play on this. Because this was already really close to to engaging. I just needed a little bit more material. So I was to the point where I was about to shave the fork. But this will allow us to get the correct geometry without having to do that. So I'm gonna pop this thing out. I think it's a 3/4. I don't really know what size it is. I'll take that out and then we should be good. So as you can see, that is a fixed unit, and this measurement from the base to here, shorten it 1/2 inch, stick the new one back in. So you can see that this one has the threads on it, so this will be something like this. This is at least what we're going for. It should just thread right in, which it does. The only downside is I don't know how I'm gonna get that to actually go in, because there's no actual bolt pad on it. Alrighty, so this is the old ball pivot, and this is our new adjustable one. Mcleod only gives you one nut for this, so I put another one on it to allow it to drive in. Because normally I think on the T45 or some of the other transmissions that this is used for multiple transmissions, you would drive it in from the back with a socket. I can't do that on this because this is a fixed bell housing, that if I remove it, it basically takes the front of the tranny off. So I'm not gonna do that. This is much easier to just do a socket and you just drive it in, which is the way that I'm gonna do with this. So I did the classic lock these things together, and then I can drive them in with a 3/4 inch wrench, pretty just like so. What I did is just went ahead and took the base measurement here, which is actually just under 2 inches. It's 1 15/16. So I'm gonna transfer that over to this, and that puts me about where I'm at right now. I could actually probably adjust it just a little bit, but I think this is good enough. So I adjusted it basically just shy of 2 inches, and you can see our bases are much different now. So what I'll be able to do now is go ahead and I'm gonna cut the end of this off. I'm gonna match the amount of threads. So I've got roughly 3/4 of an inch of threads. So I need to mark this 3/4 of an inch, and I'm gonna cut the base of this off because it is a blind hole. It is not a through hole. So if I cut this off, I can't see that at all. If I don't cut this off, it's gonna slam it into the bell housing, and if you drive it in with an impact, you can crack the bell housing. So I gotta cut the bottom of this off and then just taper it like a regular bolt, chase the threads, and then thread this guy in. Alright, so I went ahead, put our new ball pivot in, and then when I go ahead and throw the fork on, the actuation is much better. I'm gonna still grease it though, but we can see right here, if I stick this on, full range of motion, baby. So I even have a little bit of dry space back here, which is good. So I think the only thing I might change is I might add a little more slack, because throwout bearing is now hitting right here, so I think the fork's gonna sit right about there. I need to make sure that I can have full range of motion going forward, so I do need to adjust it, I think, a hair more, but I'm gonna stab this thing in and test it all out. Okay, I finally got it bolted in. That was a horrible experience. thought the only transmission that was that bad was my truck's, but I was wrong. I'm gonna try to get this jack a little bit back. Okay. I know exactly what I'm gonna hear. There's a bunch of people telling me, oh, well, you didn't have the jack in the right spot. Why don't you put it here? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I'll tell you what, next time you can come do it, because I hate doing this. I don't understand how I jack it up from there. It does that. All right, so we got this thing wrapped up. Exhaust is all done, clutch is fixed. Things underneath that, I made the midsection removable. So you can see there's 2 V-bands over here. Now there's 2 V-bands right here. So this thing has like the most like trick system in it that I've ever built, and it's in a Crown Vic. So yeah, removable now, and the clutch is now adjusted. So I'm gonna test it and see if we have all the gears. So hopefully we do. I'm gonna be real upset we don't. Alright, car's back on the ground. Now we need to move on to the engine side of things. So unfortunately, the back side of this thing, this heater hose, the fitting on the intake cracked. I don't know why. I might have leaned on it when I was putting the bell housing bolts in. First time I finished the motor. I don't know what happened, but either way, it cracked, line came off, coolant went everywhere. Yeah, that's no good. So we have a new intake to swap on this thing. Unfortunately, I gotta pull everything back off. But luckily, I think it's, for the most part, I should be able to just get away with the injectors, throttle body area, EGR area, pop that off, pop our injectors out, and then pop this thing up. So shouldn't take crazy amount of work, so I'm going to knock this thing out. And at that point, should be ready to drive it. I hope. I don't know. We'll see. I guess went ahead and got the intake off in like a little over 25 minutes flat. It's pretty good. Not too bad for my running car to literally intake off. But you can see over here the difference between, this is just a cheap eBay knockoff. It's literally $100 brand new, but there are some downsides. So as you can see, there is a gasket molded to the intake, which is definitely a plus. There's nothing wrong with that. But the only downside is on the top side. So the one thing that I noticed from the actual P71 intake, and this is not a repop of a P71 necessarily, I think it's just a 4.6 in general, so I don't know the differences in all of them, but you can see the P71, the actual true P71 is significantly taller, so that's kind of a downside for sure. We're definitely gonna get a little more low end torque, I would imagine, with this one, but up in the RPM, we're definitely gonna suffer a little bit. So I would have liked to get another one of these, but you can see our failure point right here on the back. So this guy broke, but you can see this one is still good. So that was the downside about this intake, but you can also see the volume on the ports, much bigger, much bigger. Ports on the bottom side also a little bit bigger. So kind of a downside that I have to run this, but it's simple, it's easy. I can always do something different later. I can always do like a Victor Jr. makes a really cool intake for these things, but I'm pretty sure it won't fit under the hood. But I'm gonna go ahead and stab this thing on. It's the last piece of the puzzle, then we can go drive this thing. Let's go around the block, see what it does. It's got a little misfire, and I'm hoping it clears up just because obviously I've had the battery unplugged, so I'm gonna hope that it's just the computer kind of reset and everything. Gotta get used to a lot of things in this car. I'm not used to this pedal setup with this clutch. You can tell it bites hard. Yeah, it still doesn't miss, and it's smoking a little bit, so I gotta figure that out. Ah, boy. You can hear it, it's missing hard. I don't know why. Come on. Let me adjust that. Oh, it's still there. Yeah, you can hear it. It's like the idle's all, it's like the IAC is having an issue. Yep, maybe it is. Oh yeah, she's not happy. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, no, it's fine. So I don't know enough about these things to know what's right and what's wrong and how to initially set them up. I know the 5-liter and the Fox body, there's like this whole checklist of stuff you gotta do, but I don't really know much about these things, for being honest. It sounds way better now though. Weird. All I did was unplug the, I think that was the IAC, or electronic throttle control. Yeah, it sounds great now. Why is it smoking still? I don't get that. Hopefully this motor's not gonna burn oil, but if it is, then oh well. It is what it is at this point. Sounds totally fine now. Nice, it's on fire. Oh, it's like big time on fire. Well, that's interesting. Jeez, that thing was smoking a lot. I need to get this thing up on a lift and check underneath it, but it does drive. I don't know, maybe if it burns oil, then that's just something I'm gonna have to deal with. Hopefully it doesn't. Does it still have oil? Oh, it's got oil. You can just, it's just clear, you can't see it. It's got plenty of oil though. This pickup tube sucks. Doesn't fit with long tubes, in case you're curious. Oh, but this thing is really freaking close to the ground. Like really close. I think that's oil. I really hope that's not a head gasket. That would seriously suck if that was a head gasket. It's still full. Yeah, temp's fine. It's definitely running better. I don't know what's up with all that smoke. I'll be seriously pissed if this thing, whoever did the head gasket on this didn't do the gasket right and it's freaking popped the gasket. I just don't want to take this engine out again. That was a lot of work. So just work, please. I would like to see at least what the cutouts sound like. I need to put turndowns on them so they're kind of facing a bunch of stuff that I'm not really stoked on. But I would like to at least see what they sound like. It seems like every time that I hit the cutouts, it blows out a bunch of smoke, but that could just be crap left over because it kind of corners it in this like little pocket. And once you open the flap, it shoots it all out. So that might be what's going on because I notice it smokes every time I open the cutouts. But I don't know. We'll see. Oh, this thing sounds good. Got a little miss, but it is going away, which is good. I was hoping just driving the car and just kind of getting some load under it and just letting the car's computer kind of work with everything, it would figure itself out. Ooh, that was a big ass flame. This thing sounds like a Corvette. It literally sounds exactly like a Corvette. You can't tell me it doesn't. This thing handles really, really well. I forgot how well this car handles with the all-American coilovers in it. The rear setup's really nice. Rear shocks are really good. Wow, this car drives great. For a Vic, this thing is on rails. Nice. What is this, dude? What are you doing, bro? It's always the keys, man, I tell you. Hi. It's smoking a little bit, I know. It's okay, I didn't build this engine.
That's good smoke?
I don't think so, but we're...
It smells like oil.
I know, I don't want to talk about it. It's probably ringed.
Can we talk about your setup going on?
You like this, huh?
I wish I...
There we go, that's what we look like. I don't know what's up with the little. I gotta figure that out too. But it comes and goes.
It's a good beat though.
Yeah, it comes and goes though. But yeah, it's okay, I just close this and then it's not as bad. I don't know what that is. I just hope it's not doing the same thing to where the injector's just throwing fuel at it.
Put new injectors?
Yeah.
How many?
One. It was the only one that was bad. I put a new regulator in it too.
Okay, so hear me out. You have 8 injectors.
Yes.
One of them goes bad. You trust the other 7.
Yes.
At least it's more content for them.
Shut up. Okay, I think we found the problem. Sucking in oil from PCV into this guy and it's eating it. And I think the check valve is bad or something is bad in there. Yeah, it is really hot.
Yeah, it sucked my finger.
Alrighty guys, well, there you have it. It actually kind of works. So I have a good feeling the solenoid or the valve, I changed the valve covers from the Crown Vic ones to the Mustang ones, not thinking about the baffling and the oiling in the PCV system. So I think what's going on is the check valve or whatever's going on the valve covers is not closing at the right time, it's opening. So I think it's just basically at certain times the solenoid's opening, allowing it to basically eat its own oil. So you either need to add a baffle or put the old Vic valve covers back on. Either way, it's not a big issue, but this thing runs and it drives. I'm very happy with it. It sounds good. Very rowdy with the cutouts open. We definitely put some turndowns on that just to get it it to where it doesn't melt anything on the frame rail. But after we get this thing tuned, we're ready to weld the diff, plumb the hydro, and we're ready to go to a track event. So I cannot wait to start driving this thing again. This is my daily driver. This is the reason I've been driving the town car all the time. This was supposed to be the car that I was supposed to be driving every day. So I'm super hyped to be back in a manual, back in a fun car, and I can fit 5 people in this thing. It's one of the reasons I bought it. So if you guys are just as stoked as I am, drop a like on the video if you did enjoy. Let me know your thing down in the comments below. Don't forget, we restocked our small block killer t-shirts. So if you want to go check those out, it'll be the last time they're up on the website. We're gonna get back on the F100, the crew cab. We got a bunch of special stuff coming up this week. So subscribe if you are new because you don't want to miss out on it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, guys.